Try refresh again. Am I there? I've got to fix this. Tim, really? You don't have the link still? You got to save that. Hold on to that. Once you have it, it never changes. All right. Well, no, you're probably on a different device, I guess. Okay, so I have audio confirmation. Oh, there's a picture. And then I'll unmute desktop audio so speaker bot can be heard. Yeah, I was a couple hours at a client's office. Short on time when I got back here. So still getting things arranged. Ah, okay. Zoom link. I'll get to that when I can here. Well, let's go say hello to people. There's nobody in Zoom right now. There's speaker bot messages. I'll go turn those off so they don't keep repeating. Hey, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Okay, so there's Tim Cruz. Says cool intro. I fixed the light count because I saw Dennis's comment there. Jonathan, hello. Dennis, hello. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Zoom link, you can't find it. Jonathan, over here, 76 degrees. Texas's weather is amazing. I've got rain. Rain started early this morning, expected to go for a couple days. Let's see if I got this fixed. Yeah, I got that piece fixed. John Williams says, greeting chat and Doug and Zoom. Selden Ball, hello. Jeff Ryman. Rick Lakes. Mike Wojcik. Hello to you all. Good morning. Good morning. Carl J. Jeff Ryman, Ryan Israel, Zvi Menor, Chris Garrett, Jonathan. All right. Rick has snow. I have topics in the video description. Let me go present those. I think the one that's going to be most of interest. Of course, we're hoping to have an update from Bett today, but I don't know that for sure. So topics, Bett more update, last step of restore to different hardware. That's this computer behind me. And I have some pictures to show of that process and the procedure. I did this a little different than I was expecting to. Let's go do something here. Fix that. And then refresh that. And go here. Yeah, an update from Aidan about what he's done. Greg M, Gary Weisenberger, Nick Poverman. We're having issues from a Windows update where the icons on the taskbar were messed up. So I'd like to hear how that worked out. And related to that subject, there was a Tombstones technique and stuck Rex something or other that was in registry that I don't think we're going to solve the problem that they were having, but it was just an interesting subject to peruse if we get interested in that. some comments I have about comments that other people made about Microsoft Testing Labs versus the Insiders program. Different file types in the same folder. I have some comments to react to on that. And that's about that. That's about it. So if we don't have anything else, then we'll go work on this computer behind me. Now, in response to what happened yesterday, Ran Israel's question. Yesterday, I started the stream and no, I didn't start the stream. That was another day. Yesterday, during Fortnite, my internet went out. And the only communication that I could give Dennis of what was happening was on my cell phone through YouTube. And I don't even, he wanted me to talk to him on Twitch chat, but I don't have Twitch on my cell phone. I don't want Twitch on my cell phone. Frankly, I don't like Twitch. So, yeah, there was no show yesterday. It came on back on some around noon. And then, funny thing, I was on a Zoom session with my brothers last evening, and I get this text message from Xfinity, and it was saying, yeah, here it is restored 7:18 p.m. last night. I get a message from Xfinity saying, service is restored. Is your equipment working now? They're letting me know that they've restored my service like 7 hours after it was actually restored. Right on the ball there. And they had told me in a text message when it first went down that it would be back up by 10:30. That didn't happen. I didn't get any more notifications from them. Jim was laughing at me about my not being prepared this morning. We almost got to spring. Just our luck, we might be getting 20 inches of snow. Some more hellos. Hello, John Aloy. Tony Wallow, $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Tony. Let's see. I haven't heard any speaker bot yet, and I haven't seen any exclamation marks. I guess nobody has tested that. Yeah. Speedy is here. All right. So I guess we'll go. All right. So Tim is going to interrupt the show, making me, during the show, send him Zoom credentials. Ah, caramba. Tim, come on. Come on.
Hello, Doug.
There's a speaker bot from John Williams. Thank you. Where do I want to get that from? Go over here.
Hello, Doug.
Hello, friendly
Careful what you ask
voice.
Testing bot?
Yeah, there it is. Well, that'll keep things happening while I'm trying to do this thing for Tim Cruz. All right.
Twitch is great.
That's your opinion, Dennis, not mine. All right. So let me get to telling the story about, restoring to different hardware. This was in relation to this computer that we worked on last Saturday, and removed the hard drive from it. This is a computer that wouldn't boot at all. And we concluded there's something wrong with probably something wrong with the motherboard, maybe CPU, if I'm remembering right. So it's it's an old computer. She has another computer that she can use, but this computer has QuickBooks from her husband's business that is closed down. And they want to have that available in case they need to reference it in the near future. And it wasn't a critical issue. If we wind up saying, sorry, it's gone, then she could live with it. But I wanted to give this a shot. So what I did is I took a laptop that I had on hand and transferred her drive contents to this newer laptop. Now, didn't really transfer it. What I did is I pulled the drive out of the old computer. We did that last week. Then I made a Macrim Reflect backup to an external drive. Then I started looking at this computer, and this computer had a spinning hard drive on it. So I said, well, I don't really want to give her spinning hard drive when she had an SSD. So I said, well, I'll just put her old SSD into this computer, and then I booted this computer to Macrim Reflect USB and used the menu option within Macrim Reflect to prepare this restore. It usually would be used when we're doing a restore, but to prepare this drive for new hardware. And that went really well. Let's go pull up those pictures. Oh, Tim, I did send that email to you. Signing into my iCloud. Jeff Ryman has wind forecast. Yeah, I heard you talking about those strong winds, like 50 miles an hour. Now I got to go find those. It just really messes me up when I don't have a little bit of time to prepare. I arrived home 20 minutes before showtime. No, I've got a bunch of pictures in here from other computers since doing that. Okay, this is all that computer. Yeah, getting close here. Okay. Yeah, okay, so here, well, let me look a little bit further what's before this. This was the operating system that was on this laptop before pulling out the old hard drive. So it was Windows 7 Home Premium. And I didn't realize, I thought it had a Windows 10 on it, but it's been around here for a long time. It's an HP Pavilion DV7. And the hard drive that I'm putting in it came from a Dell Inspiron. I think it was Inspiron. So I booted it on the USB thumb drive for Macrim Reflect. And then here I'm in Macrim Reflect. And this is, I think, after I installed the replacement drive in this computer, I'm going to redeploy to new hardware. You know what? It might not be, because I was doing some experiments with this in the meantime. Oh my gosh. So many things I did. Let's make this bigger. And let's see, there's another bigger to go. I could maximize there. Let's try F11. Yeah, F11 makes that big. Okay, so the redeploy operation, it allows you to specify locations for adding drivers, because if you need specific drivers for the computer to even recognize, like the hard drive, you might need that. I did not do anything along those lines with this. Here it was scanning for drivers. You know what? I know this is that experiment time that I was doing. Let's get to the right one. Ah, there. Okay. Yeah, okay, here, searching for drivers. AMD SATA controller from Advanced Micro Devices located, and that was a storage driver. And then here's check marks that are available. I did not change any of the check marks. I just use them as default. Actions to perform: reset existing device standard, SATA HCI controller, start level to load at boot, disable automatic reboot on blue screen of death, detect hardware abstraction layer. So this is allow me to put in a drive that was used in a different computer and causing Windows to redetect all the drivers that are needed for the hardware that's present. As I understand it, redeploy process complete, and it showed, it's got some processing messages here. This is the top half of the screen. Notice the word success there. I'm going to scroll down. There's the word success up there. It shows the rest of the things that it did to do this. And then this is actually a video, 1 minute 34 seconds, just showing the restart. So at this point, I don't know, is this going to work or not? So I filmed it. I'm dragging the playhead forward so we don't have to wait through all of this. Getting devices ready. It's giving a percentage of getting devices ready. And it's trying to play that audio. I'm going to mute that audio because it's nothing worth listening to. And then here it comes up with the username of Steve, and I think there's no password for that, right? And so here is this client's desktop, what they are accustomed to with all their programs everywhere that they expected. It's exactly the same Windows desktop that they are accustomed to, but on a different computer. Now, we're not done yet. Some of you are probably already thinking about, well, what about Device Manager? And by the way, I have actually not even looked to see if Windows is activated. This is Windows 10. We know the previous computer had Windows 7 Home Premium. Come on, get me to the next picture, will you? All right, so here's what Device Manager shows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unknown devices. So the first thing I did was to let Windows Update try to deal with those. Let's get back to here. So this is just already connected to Ethernet. And downloading drivers, not drivers, but downloading updates, whatever updates it's finding. Some of those are drivers, it looks like. And now we're down to 4 other devices. Restart required, and those were all done. So I did a restart at that point. And then here's optional updates. I want to see what's available there because at that point I still had 3 device driver problems. So I just went ahead and installed all of the optional updates. And after that was done, we've got 2 items that are afoul. And that is still the case right now. So the next thing would be to go to the HP website to get the drivers for this computer. And that should take care of the rest of those. I have not done that yet, so we might do that during the show today. Let's see, what was I doing here? I don't know why I have that snapshot. Oh. Do I want to go into that yet? No. That's a separate topic. Yeah, I'll go ahead and show you this, since I don't want to come back to these pictures. This is just a screenshot of a Gmail that came in. No, I think it was a text message. Yeah, it was a text message. A different kind of scam that I haven't seen before. Hello, we need someone to review book a table restaurant reservations. Earn $400 to $700 per day with free training. Our task is simple. We just need to review or like restaurants. It can be done without interfering with your current job, and there are no restrictions, qualifications. If you want to join, call the phone number, WhatsApp. And I just copied all of that and pasted it into a Google search, and it showed, yeah, it's a scam. They come up with different names other than book a table, but all the rest of the text is identical. All right, now I'll go see what's going on in chat. Here's where I left off. Scanning through looking for conversations on this topic. Oh, Bett more is in Zoom, so we'll come to you pretty soon here, Bett, and get an update from her. Did you see Carrie's show yesterday? Yes, I did see that. I'm really not interested in going down that road. I'd still rather use W show hide. I've done that on several computers. It does on rare occasions affect Windows 11 too, but it's a different KB number. It ends with a 0 instead of a 1. But from what I can see, that only affects Windows 11 for 21H2, which is already out of support for Windows 11, so it's not going to be often that gets hit. Let's see what else we got here. Just scanning through these to see if there's any feedback on this topic that I've talked about so far. You wouldn't believe how much time I invested in the project. Let's see, that was Lawn Dog. I think that's his painting project. Yeah. He's prep time like Batman. Could have been XP. You're on mute on Zoom. Yes, I know that, Tim. I'll go ahead and unmute in Zoom and turn my camera on Zoom. Now I can't hear you, and the audience can't hear you. But you'll be able to hear me on through Zoom, so you can go ahead and mute your YouTube. Let's see. There, I got that camera fixed. I'll just catch up with chat here, and then we'll come over to Zoom. Does one need a paid Macrim license to redeploy to new hardware? I don't know. I don't know that for sure. The USB thumb drive I was using was created from a paid version. Did I see the taskbar like the real thick one, like double layers? I believe that has been deprecated. So I'm assuming it's an old version of Windows 10. Can you no longer do a double tie taskbar? I didn't realize that was deprecated. Maybe over a year old. I don't remember when they took away that feature of making the taskbar thicker. I'm not sure how to term it. Yeah, that is. Well, that computer's fully updated though. Let's see. Yeah, here I haven't tested. Yeah, there it is. It came up. So there's my capture device to that computer. I think it's up to date now. Let's do WinVer 22H2 Windows 10. Oh, wrong mouse. Close that, and then I can just bring that taskbar down, bring it up. So that's working with 22H2. Yeah, just unlock the taskbar. Okay. Unnecessary process with special recovery, transferring the disk as is to the other computer. Everything was working. Even so, you had to install missing drivers. So Zvi, you're saying you don't think that redeploy to different hardware is needed unless you want the system to be on another disk. I haven't looked into the details as to what that actually does and when it is actually necessary. I know if he has experience with macro memory flex, so maybe he's had experience just transferring a drive from a Dell computer to an HP computer. You don't expect that to be necessary. It was telling about detecting the CPU during those messages. There was something there in there about detecting the CPU, so it's going to be a different CPU. Limited to Pro and server versions. So yes, it has to be a paid version. Latest version of Windows 10. Just made a double high. Yeah. Okay, let's go bring Zoom in. Attention to Bett and Tim. And I'm going to bring you on, and we want to get, I'll say a quick hello to Tim, and then we want to get caught up with Bett. So hang on, I don't have all the adjustments there yet. Let's see, change speakers to system, and then you should be hearing me. Okay, Tim, do you hear me?
Loud and clear, Doug.
There we go. And YouTube should be hearing you. Did you have anything? Did you have any questions or topics to bring?
Not right now, no. But if I do get, I'll email you.
All right. Well, I'm not going to see an email during the show.
No worries.
Okay. And Bett, are you there?
Yes.
Hi. So
Hi.
I have not updated everybody in regards to the emails that you have sent since our last Saturday session. I think I updated them on Monday, but you've had more development since then. So why don't you just tell us where you're at and what's happening? Now, I'll start by reminding people. Last week we worked with Bett regarding trying to get her handheld ham radio communicating with her computer through a USB cable.
Yes.
And we were having trouble with that. And I had, I wound up very much wanting for her to get a replacement USB cable because I was suspicious about that. We were a little bit handicapped in troubleshooting because didn't have another radio of the same make and model or an alternate USB cable. She did have another radio, and that did work with her computer, and we saw how the computer is supposed to recognize that when it's connected by the USB cable. So go ahead and tell us what's happened since then, Bett.
Okay, Doug. Hello, everyone. Yes, well, what I did was I followed the instructions, and I ordered the ICOM new cable, and I went straight to their site, no Amazon stuff, and just got the cable. And then even with the new cable, the previous computer that Doug and I was on last Saturday, I turned it back in. So I went and got a Lenovo and hooked my up. Everything is working fine. I want to thank you, the court, my device manager. I can do port 3, I can do port 8 because they both require 2 different port numbers. And I want to thank you, and I'm very happy.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Bett. The computer that we were working on last Saturday, you have returned it, and
yes,
you also got that USB cable. Did you try the replacement USB cable with the computer we were working on last week, or had you already returned it?
No, I waited. I did try that, and the device manager was still showing the same, so I narrowed it down to pretty much a new cable, and then I turned the computer in. It was sluggish, and I just like this Lenovo better, and it wasn't even 5 days old, but I'm happy everything's working. But no, it just was not working for that other one. I forgot what it was that I turned back in. I took it back to the store.
Yeah, I think you implied that there were other reasons of why you and your husband really didn't like that computer, even aside from the radio issue. Is that right?
It was sluggish. It was
Okay.
I don't like sluggishness for $500. You can't do sluggish, not me.
Okay. All right. So anyway, everything's working now for you.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
All Awesome. Thank you for giving us the update. Did you have anything else that we can help with?
Well, not today. I don't want to ask today, but maybe next Saturday.
All right.
But you guys don't know anything about OpenSpot. Next Saturday.
Okay. All right. We will look forward to seeing you again next Saturday then.
Okay.
All right.
I'm here to learn too. Anything I can learn.
So are you going to stay and hang out in Zoom?
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out today.
Okay, great. Awesome. All right. Coming back to chat, people saying hellos to each other more. Excuse, Greg, client problem solving. All right. So then I'll turn to this computer behind me. Bring that up on screen again. I've got a wireless mouse and keyboard there. And I am going to use a feature in OBS that allows me to make that image full screen. Oops, I got to use Big Beast mouse to do that. You right click on the, let's see, you right click on the image here and get this menu. You can do windowed projector view or full screen view, and then pick which monitor you want it to be on. And so which monitor did that put it on? Oh, it's on my middle monitor. Yeah, there it is. So now I'm seeing that laptop screen full screen, but I'm not seeing OBS at all. So this will be an interesting, different way to go. Right. Oh, you know what? I haven't checked on activation, so let's look on that. PowerShell. Hit some key wrong there. Activation settings. Yeah, Windows is not activated. So I'll probably wind up buying a Windows 10 home license key through Kerry Holzman's link to accomplish that. Or the other way I could do is that this computer has a sticker on the bottom with a Windows 7 Home Premium serial number, registration key. But I think they turned that off, right? I don't think you can use Windows 7 anymore to activate Windows 10. See if anyone gives me confirmation of that in chat. These keyboards are going to drive me nuts. I just see it already. Yeah, Costanza, yeah, they took that away. So I'll just buy a key through VIP CDK deals, I think is the name of it.
Why not to try?
So he wants me to try it. So what would I do? Change product key? And just try typing in that key. I think I've got a cell phone picture.
Turned off for Windows 7.
Turned off for Windows 7. All right, here's the key. And it's upside down. There's got to be a way to rotate this.
Do show the key on screen.
Oh, keyboards are driving me nuts. Do not show the key. I pulled that up just to see. Are you really telling me to show that key on screen? Yeah, I thought that would not be a good idea. Are you seriously? Okay, I'll do it this way. Pull it up on my phone. Because there I know I can turn it upside down. it is.
Key field is on screen.
Yeah, the key field is, yeah. Is it, yeah, it does show up. So I'll take that off when I start typing it. Let's see, how about, no, I don't want to try, I was thinking about trying a blurring technique. No, it's not worth it. Now, when I put something else on screen, I can't see that computer from here, so I'm gonna have to turn my back to you. Do that. All right. All right, I typed in the key, then clicking next. If any of you can read that key from there, more power to you. I've never done a Windows 7 product key to activate. In fact, I don't know if I've ever done any older product key to activate a newer operating system. I'm assuming that's the way to do it. If it wasn't, you would have told me that by now. There we go. Bring that back up on screen.
Old Windows 7 and 8 keys no longer activate Windows 10 or 11 since at least October last year.
Okay, here we have a message. Activate Windows. By activating Windows, you get the best experience free from interruptions. And I'm not satisfied until I actually click activate, because I haven't actually clicked activate yet, but it looks like it's working. That was a Windows 7 Home Premium key that was on a sticker on the bottom of the laptop.
Of course, Mississippi could just be lying again.
There you go, Jim. Does Microsoft lie? How about the way they lied to Carrie yesterday? About that script command for when he was trying to fix the issue.
I told you!
Yeah, it's really reasonable to try something, even if you've been told it doesn't work. Yes, Ida, you did hear, I think Mississippi, when Jim put in MS. I think the speaker bot interpreted that as an abbreviation for Mississippi. Yeah, for those of you who didn't watch Kerry's show yesterday, he was doing the script processing to fix the KB 503-44441 update on Windows 10, and he was having trouble with it because the instructions from Microsoft actually had one of those steps wrong, and somebody in the chat room provided the right information. And I was kind of scratching my head because he said that he had done it on a dozen machines already, and I'm guessing that he had it set up in a way that he wasn't going to their website every time to look up the instructions. And then he also speculated that maybe a Windows update is what stopped the old instructions from working. Unable to activate Windows. So now who's going to come back and say, Jim's going to come back and say, "Ha, I told you so," after Zavi said, "I told you so." No way, no activation. Yeah. Unable to activate Windows. We can't activate Windows on this device because you don't have a valid digital license or product key. You scum. If you think you do have a valid license or key, select troubleshoot now. No, I don't think I do. Yep. So no dice, no cigar. We could go buy it key during the show if somebody wants to actually see that process, but I think we can go ahead and do the HP website updates. So let's go. You know what, I don't know what might come up as their default pages on their browser. No, that's fine. HP.com. And some of the older HP computers, HP has, I think it's HP and or Dell, have stopped hosting drivers and manuals and such. So I don't know what we're going to find here. Software and drivers for a laptop. I want a serial number here, so I'll go get the serial number. Go to the Windows button, CMD, enter, WMIC, BIOS, get.
The fixing of KB 5034441 was not from Microsoft. It was from a forum in Microsoft.
A forum in Microsoft. All right. So it's unfair to me that unfair to say that it's Microsoft lying. There's the serial number. Double click on it. Control C for copy. Go back to the website. Click in the field. Control V for paste. Retired product. Does that mean the owner of the computer is going to get a pension? I think I just have to exit or close that. Now let's close that survey, close this retired product message. Are they giving us anything? Yeah, I think this is one of those that's retired completely and they're not going to give me anything. Once a product is retired, the official HP support content, troubleshooting articles, user guides, how-to videos for that product is removed from the HP website. Additional support content may still be available via the HP forums from third-party websites. However, HP takes no responsibility for content authored by third parties. So, thank you very much.
I how to know when to replace your PC. The manufacturer removes all support from the website.
Yeah, doesn't that sound like something like they're taking lessons from Apple? Find ways to force people to stop using older products. What is popping up now? All right, so another way to go about it is to get the device ID. Let's go to Device Manager, see if we can find a driver for those specific devices. They can still be available anywhere else on the internet. Now we have 2 monitor device drivers, and that's because I'm using my capture device now. Go into Properties, Driver, Details. I can go to the Details tab, do this drop down, and then Hardware IDs. Let's say hello to Jim here. Hello, Jim.
Let's see if this is working. It is working.
There it
Okay,
is.
good.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Jim.
When you can't find support on the website, it's time.
Yeah. Well, see, I could see if I've got another old laptop around here that I'm willing to give to her, you know, or I could just cut the cord and tell her it didn't work. But I'm not really interested in doing that because I think I can get her functional. In fact, it's quite possible this computer is completely functional for her right now. This is not going to be a main daily driver for her. So I'd be completely fine with just giving it to her as is right now because it appears to be functional. I could try checking to see if her QuickBooks works because that's what she cares about.
Oh, I would think that would be nothing to do with a quote unquote missing driver.
True, I agree. But then if there is something about QuickBooks not working, am I going to pursue that? That may be a completely different issue, but I suspect that it'll work fine just as is. I'm kind of feeling attracted to that, not pursuing that any further, frankly.
How many times has stubborn Doug gone down these rabbit holes?
Yeah. Well, get somebody in chat or somebody in Zoom, give me something else to talk about to do a show because I don't have anything else. I don't think. I could go back and look at my topics. Let's go look. I'm going to go look at chat because there's a bunch of other messages here. What's going on?
Let's see.
Oh, there's some other conversations about Carrie's issue yesterday. If Carrie Holzman is with us, I do appreciate him making that video yesterday. I've been kicking rocks about actually doing it the traditional way, but Carrie's method encouraged me to give it a try and work just like he showed us. But I also agree with him that Microsoft usually fixes this kind of stuff, but obviously they haven't here. I think there's complications to them fixing it automatically. I appreciate the way he approached explaining why things are the way they are. Jim, how to know when to replace your PC the manufacturer removes. All support from the website. Get a clue. Here's your sign.
That's right. Here's your sign.
I won't touch that with a large stick. Lawn Dog have a 2015 machine which already replaced hard drive to SSD. I suspect. Won't press my luck. The command for PowerShell that was mentioned in the fix relied on the script being signed. Yeah. That's why the command, that set command, I think it was a set command of some sort, didn't accomplish what it needed for the script signature. I don't know that stuff very well at all. On Dr. Ida, if you're talking about that update, it's totally not necessary, just annoying to have the process during an update to keep coming at you. Yeah, I'm still seeing it occasionally. Every time I see it, I just download the W show hide update and just hide it. I think the process for fixing it the way Carrie demonstrated takes longer. And there may be other complications as he pointed out. Well, let's go say hello to Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Doug. I just heard you on YouTube asking for the things to talk about. So I got one little thing
All
to
right.
talk about. Interesting.
Go ahead.
Yesterday, I had one of my old church members bring me his computer for him to work on. Because he needed a new NVMe drive because he had completely filled up his original one. So he went from a 250 gig NVMe to a terabyte. But I did the macro reflect. I did a macro reflect backup image, and then I restored the backup image to the new 1 terabyte. And then when I went into the device management, as I expected, it showed unallocated space, about 600 gigs worth of unallocated space for the drive. So I thought I would use the AOME partition assistant to merge the unallocated space with the C drive. But much to my surprise, either number one, AOME took away that functionality to merge the unallocated space with the C drive in the latest version of that software, because I downloaded it fresh from their website, or what they were saying, or what it seemed that they were saying on the application was that when I copied that image, when I restored that image back to the drive, the C drive Windows was still only showing as having like 6 gigabytes free out of the whole 250 gig. So my thinking is either they took the functionality away, or there wasn't enough space to allow the program to put the pre-execution environment or whatever needed to be able to boot up into, to be able to do the operation.
All right.
So,
are you aware when you do a macro reflect restore, you can click an option to automatically expand to fill the available space?
yes, I am aware of that now, because I actually once I discovered that issue, I went back into macro reflect, rebooted into macro reflect, and then did the restore.
Okay,
because the way the drive was laid out, I had to kind of play with it for a little bit, because the way Windows formats the drive, you got the one partition and you got a second partition that are both system partitions, and you got the third partition, which is Windows, and you got the fourth partition, which is recovery. So I had to tell macro reflect to put the recovery, the fourth partition, all the way at the very end, so I could have the unallocated space right next to the C drive for the Windows, so I could tell it to use the rest of the space for the C drive.
Yeah. So I think what you did then is you edited. They've got a word in there. It's not edit, but anyway, you can manipulate the locations where the partitions are going to be restored to. But if I recall correctly, I think even prior to that, before you've copied those partitions to the destination, there's another menu option that will automatically put those things in the right places, so that you don't have to manually move that recovery partition to the end. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that correctly.
Well, I couldn't find that automatic option, so I just manually did it.
I have had occasions where I know that I've gone to do that. I said, I know it's here somewhere, and it took a little hunt and peck to find it.
I just found that strange that merge option in AOME partition thing that I've used several times before failed to work.
All right.
It did not work, and I think it was because the C drive on the restored image was too full.
Yeah.
It's his original hard drive was too full.
I have had occasions where I've forgot to use that option to fill the drive, and then later I realize it and I go back and do the restore operation again. Kick myself for not remembering it. All right, good. Well, thank you for that. Giving us that tales from the trenches.
He helped me. The guy actually helped me do the whole repair, physical hardware repair process. So he was having to wait on all the restores and backups and all that. And since I had to do the restore twice and the backup once, it took like 3 hours total, because every time I did a restore or a backup, it took about 55 minutes each. So
yeah. So he actually did the physical swap of the parts?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But thankfully he sprung for a more expensive HP laptop, like one of the $800 ones.
Yeah.
It has a dedicated graphics card, so they made it more accessible to be upgraded. So he got a new NVMe drive and 16 gigs of memory.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Thank you. Bett, nice to see you. Previously you had your camera off.
I didn't know how to. This has a on. The laptop's new and I'm new. I don't know. I got it.
Okay. I'm wondering, did it have one of those slider covers
Yes,
over the lens?
yes.
That's what was happening.
Yes,
Okay.
I only had two, and I'm like, bam.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go back to chat messages, see what else we got here. They could approach this problem in several ways. One be multiple tries and then automatically hide it, wait for another time after Microsoft analyzes the problem. Issue 441 is only an issue if you check for updates. None of my clients have complained since they never go and check for updates. Well, it happens on even just for Update Tuesday. I'm hearing an echo from somewhere. I don't see a window lighting up. I'm not hearing the echo now, so maybe we're okay. It'll keep failing. I've seen it. Computers try to install that over and over, and it takes a long time before it actually fails and reverts back. And the clients will probably rarely use it. I've never had them complain to me about it. Oh, I see. That echo is coming through you. Can you mute yourself until you want to talk? Do you know how to mute yourself? I'll go ahead and click mute for you there, Bett. Do you see the unmute button down in the, I think, the bottom left of your window, so that you can unmute yourself when you want to? Okay, I'll let her work on that. I did hide it so it won't bother me, but resizing partitions on a 2015 machine is not a smart thing to do, even with backups when they have a repair. There's really no need to install that update. The only thing that it's protecting against is people who use BitLocker, they're using drive encryption, and think that somebody might gain physical access to their computer, because in order to compromise the computer, utilizing the vulnerability that update patches, they would have to have physical access to the computer. They might actually remove the hard drive to access the files on that computer. And not only physical access to your computer, but if they can't walk up to your computer and just use it, meaning you've already unlocked it, then it's irrelevant. They already have access to the files on the computer.
Question about the drive encryption. Yesterday, because it's an HP, yesterday I also had to turn off the device encryption that comes with Windows 10 Home on like HP and Dell machines. If I did not turn off that device encryption before booting up to Mac and Reflect. Would I have encountered any issues making a backup? Or would it have worked?
If you're trying to make a backup of a computer that has drive encryption, the Mac and Reflect will make a backup of it. Will that backup be encrypted? That's an option that you can select, if I recall correctly, within Mac and Reflect as to whether you want the backup to be encrypted. A person who's using
I was talking about the drive encryption setting in the settings that's automatically turned on when you have like an HP computer.
Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about. Well, how am I missing something there? If the driving,
I didn't know if that would affect Macaroon being able to do a backup at all.
No, that won't, because when you're making a backup, that drive is already unencrypted. You're already accessing it. You have access to it. Now, if you make a backup and that backup is not retaining that encryption, that's a vulnerability, because if somebody gets their hands on that backup, they could restore that to another computer and have unencrypted access to your data. There's options within Macrium to deal with backing up with or without drive encryption. And I haven't done any actual work with that. So I'm only saying that it is there somehow, some way, and it's an issue that you can deal with. But if you've got a drive that is encrypted and you try to make a backup, at that point, I think Macrium will pop up a message asking you how you want to handle that. I've never made a backup of a drive that is encrypted because I don't have that set up on any of my clients. We're not in that kind of environment. My clients' computers throughout the office really don't have any secrets from each other. The ones that do, we create special folders on their server that only the particular person has access to, and use other ways to protect it.
That's one of a few things that I have not been able to figure out why HP does that why HP and Dell do that on machines that are geared to the customer and have Windows 11 Home on it. Why do they enable that device?
I've seen that on other than Dell and HP. In fact, I should check that on these B-Link computers. I don't think I've checked it yet, but my understanding was that is a Windows 10, Windows 11 thing, and the only time you're not going to get it is if you're like doing a fresh install of Windows from installation media.
Laptops are easily stolen when traveling.
I can't say for absolute sure, but if you do a fresh install of Windows 11 Home, you have partial encryption enabled by default.
Oh, it's okay. So I'm not surprised to hear that. That's not something that I commonly do. But I did do one recently, and I can't tell you offhand. It's in my checklist to check for that. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I made note of that in the processing the checklist on that computer. Which computer was that? I did a... Oh, yes, there was a computer purchased for a client that I wound up doing a fresh install of Windows to totally wipe out the manufacturer's installation. I bet I have notes of that somewhere, but...
A fresh
the
install
laptop that I bought,
usually
I
doesn't
guess it was
enable
earlier
device
this year,
encryption. Turning off TPM
from a known
will
manufacturer.
definitely
It
disable
has
it.
Windows 11 Home on it, but encryption was partially set up.
Yeah, and you get that message, sign into your Microsoft account to complete encryption.
Right.
And then if you, in fact, now that I'm talking this through, I'm realizing I must have had this experience on that one, because I experimented with, okay, turn off the encryption. It takes a while for it to complete that.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and turn on encryption, I know I tried that. I'm not remembering well enough to say. It seems to me I was wanting to say that it was pretty quick to turn it back on to that state where it's partially encrypted. But something I was wanting to test and I haven't done yet is when I get a computer that is in a partially encrypted state, or it has that message, sign into your Microsoft account to complete encryption, take the drive out of that computer, connect it to a USB adapter to another computer, and see if I can access content on the drive. That's what's really going to tell me whether it's actually any kind of encryption.
I didn't have that luxury because I happen to not have a NVMe enclosure. So I had to, that's the reason why I had to make a backup onto my external hard drive and then replace it with put the new parts in, and then restore the image.
Grey Wolf is saying that he believes Carrie has demonstrated that in a recent video. I would be interested in being pointed to that video if somebody knows how to find it. Okay, let's come back to chat. On Dr. Greg, yeah, you're right. Every time I go to my machine, press...
Is it possible Microsoft to turn off a Bluetooth USB dongle during a Windows update? I managed to turn it on again, but by going to Bluetooth settings. Working fine by citing toggle button.
Okay, for the information of people on Zoom, when you see me just stop in the middle of a sentence like that, it's because there's a speaker bot coming through. You guys can't hear it on Zoom. This one was kind of long. Is it possible Microsoft to turn off a Bluetooth USB dongle during a Windows update? Wait a minute, Bluetooth USB dongle during a Windows update. So that's a USB dongle that is a Bluetooth transceiver to communicate with Bluetooth devices. I managed to turn it on again, but by going to Bluetooth settings, working fine by citing toggle button. Ah, you're killing me here.
Yes, affirmative.
Speedy, yes, affirmative.
Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Sure, it is.
Well, I think he's saying yes, affirmative to my question. Are you referring to a USB dongle that is a Bluetooth transceiver? That's what I think he's saying yes to. And he's asking, is it possible to turn it off during a Windows update? I would think so. Yeah, you should be able to turn that off at any time.
Yeah, I've seen Windows updates do some really interesting things. What they'd like to do a lot of, depending on what computer, I've not really experienced this myself, but I've heard from other people who have OEM systems like Dells and HPs and so forth and so on. After a Windows update, some of their devices stop working because for whatever reason, Microsoft decides to rearrange the USB hubs.
All right.
Which is weird. I don't quite follow that. I've never experienced it myself, but I have heard enough stories about it.
It took me a little bit to realize this would be more understandable. Is it possible for Microsoft to turn off a Bluetooth USB dongle? I thought he was asking, is it possible for him to turn off the Bluetooth USB dongle during a Windows update? And I was thinking, why would you do that? So I think he's asking, did Microsoft turn it off? Yeah.
Yes. The answer is yes. That can happen.
All right. All right.
Yeah. Windows updates occasionally will reassign your USB ports without bothering to tell you.
All right. I'm going to scan through a little bit here instead of reading everything. Let's see. It's V Minor saying, I tried the fix yesterday on my wife's PC. It worked. Set execution policy is the one that was the culprit with Carrie's work yesterday. And the correct thing to do is set execution policy unrestricted. I don't recall what the instructions he was working off told him to use. It was some word other than unrestricted. This what Alex is describing be done in the traditional way using disk management. The problem with that is you can't move the recovery partition to the end of the drive. So
as far as I know, disk management can't move any partition, really. I mean, it can expand and it can track partitions, but I don't think it can actually move anything.
Yeah, the only way you could do that is if you've already got the other partitions all the way to the right side, and then you could use disk management to expand the partition. I know well, my occasions where I use disk management to do things like that is when I have a 1 terabyte drive, we're only using less than 100 gigabytes.
Yeah.
And I want to split it in half and make a backup partition, because I can do that remotely without installing, without attaching anything. I can create a backup partition and get a regular backup schedule happening. So I'll split the main partition in half and then create a new partition in the unused space. And
Hey, I'm used to going from a bigger drive to a smaller drive, a bigger hard drive to a smaller SSD. Usually don't go the other way around.
Yeah. Now, the way I do that split is I don't split it, I shrink the main partition down. And then that leaves unused space, and I can create a backup partition there. Okay. Say hello to Josh Kinder here coming into Zoom. Hello, Josh. Or, well, I did say hello to him. He didn't say hello back, but was that him speaking that? No. All right, continuing. Unrestricted or bypass can be used to bypass the block. Laptops easily stolen when traveling. So that would be a reason for having encryption on a laptop. The laptops that I have clients using, they typically don't have any local data. They're using them to connect remotely to the office.
But here's another thing also that I just thought of. How could that device encryption that Microsoft enables by default on Windows 11 help anybody anyway? Because BitLocker, if you have the Pro version, you have BitLocker enabled, it will ask for the key or whatever before it actually boots up Windows. Well, you can obviously get to the Windows login screen where it asks for the password, the normal Windows password, without having to do anything with that Windows 11 Home partial device encryption. So how does that turned on? So how does that help anything at all anyway?
Well, the way it helps is that let's talk about that you actually have encryption fully enabled, and it goes all the way up to the login screen. If the criminals don't have your password and you've got a good complex password, they can't get in. But the reason why the encryption saves you there is if they take the hard drive out and attach it to another computer, it's encrypted. If you don't have it encrypted, when the criminals start your computer up, they don't know your password. But if it's not encrypted, they can take the drive out and connect it to another computer and access the content on the drive.
Okay.
Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a Microsoft account, you may be able to remotely
I just
lock
have
your
never
device.
had a need to keep that enabled. So I just for people, so I just to avoid problems, I just turn it off.
All right. Yeah, I turn it off too. I can't, if I'm going to use encryption on computers, I first need people to be willing to become educated, or let me train them, or let me do training for their company for personal responsibility, because that's where the massive vulnerabilities exist. Is they use passwords that are just not secure enough, not, understanding two-factor authentication. And in a corporate environment, in fact, I'd like to get Gary Weisenberger's input on this. I'd like to know what kind of training they put all their end users through to protect against the human factors, because the human factors are the massive vulnerabilities. Let's see, this is the last one. Recent with Ran was, with a Microsoft account, you may be able to remotely lock your device. Absolutely you can. And it doesn't need to be encrypted. You can lock a device that is not encrypted. Now, if you lock the device and it's not encrypted, does that prevent somebody from removing the drive and accessing at least some of the content that's not within the user profile area? That I don't know, and I'd be curious to track it down.
Unencrypted? Yeah, unencrypted. I think that you just yank the drive and have a field day.
Yeah, I think you can get to everything. There's a comment about Carrie demonstrating. With Windows 10 11, Microsoft offers BitLocker device encryption support on a broader range of devices. These include those that support modern standby and devices that run Windows 10 Home Edition. With the Home Editions, they call it drive encryption. It is based on BitLocker technology, and even on some of the menu interfaces, they use the word BitLocker, yet they say that it's not BitLocker, but it's there are features of BitLocker, the full BitLocker product, that device encryption does not have. Device encryption is only going to encrypt the drives that are in the device, whereas if you have BitLocker encryption, you can be encrypting external devices as well, USB devices, and there's other things that the full BitLocker that's available on the Pro editions of Windows can do that the Home Edition called device encryption doesn't do. If you got to be into all that or care about that.
That's a bad idea for most home users, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't, the number of people who are home users who have a hard time remembering the email passwords, you want them to remember a BitLocker key.
Right.
No.
Bad idea for me.
Hello, Bobby Warren.
Doug, I want to add a topic on the table today.
All right, go ahead.
My internet was running a little bit slow while I was watching the movie last night. It was buffering. I rebooted it. I hope it lasts long tonight.
Okay, so after you rebooted it, it's working better?
I think so. And what else tips do you recommend me to do if it still acts up?
Well, I mean, there's lots of things. If you're buffering only on the videos and nothing else, of course, you're looking at your internet, you're looking at your computer performance itself. Rebooting it was the first thing to do. Disabling some background items, all the little icons.
I was watching it on the TV.
It was what?
I was watching it on the TV.
Your TV was buffering?
Yes.
Okay, so your TV was, you were watching content coming to your TV over the internet?
Yes.
All right. That's interesting. I haven't pursued anything with televisions buffering. That sounds like it'd be an internet issue. Are there other devices in the on the same internet within your environment that were using internet traffic? Because
that's my mom's TV hardwired, and my dad's TV is Wi-Fi. My TV's Wi-Fi too.
So the TV that was buffering was Ethernet wired?
No, hard Wi-Fi. That's mine.
Oh, so your TV was on Wi-Fi and it was buffering?
Yes.
All right. So anything harming your Wi-Fi connection, your TV might have a menu option within its settings menu to speed test your internet connection. So that would be...
I did that. It's fair. The Wi-Fi, the 5 gigahertz is fair. I switched it to the 2.4. It's much better.
Okay.
2.4 is longer range than 5 gigahertz.
Right.
Yeah.
The 5 gigahertz is faster, but if you're not getting a good enough signal for that 5 gigahertz to be healthy, then you could get better performance by using the 2.4, which is plenty for streaming video.
Yeah.
And that's why most modern routers have the option enabled by default to combine the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies under one name. So it will automatically switch depending on
my technician jobs separated. My technician jobs separated because I had an old router a long time ago. They had to switch out my router for the newer one.
All right. Well, at this point, after doing the restart, it's performing better, and you don't know if you still have a problem, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, I think you just need to move forward and deal with the problem when you come across that.
I will say sometimes, even with the gig, most TVs, I haven't come across a TV that has greater than 100 meg. So most smart TVs are limited to 100 meg, even on Ethernet. So
which is still plenty. If you watch your task manager, let's go bring up task manager for anyone who's not aware of this.
All right, thank you, Alex.
All right, you're welcome. So I'm bringing up task manager here. My video right now is playing in the background, so I'm receiving live stream and sending live stream, and receiving I'm currently 2.1 megabits per second. So if your TV is limited to 100 megabits per second, that's not going to cause you any problem with watching a movie, because it just doesn't take that much.
No, 4K is like what, 25 to...
Yeah, well, there's a point if you're watching in 4K and you have a device for that.
When I bought my T-Mobile home internet, everything started out at the 5 gigahertz. I had to go into my router setting on my app, which is controlled by my phone. I had to set it to 2.4. Now everything's set the way it should be.
All right. Okay, Gary, hello.
Hello.
So, maybe you heard my question for you?
Just got home about 5 minutes ago.
All right. Well, I was wanting to ask you what the employees within your company, what kind of training are they put through as far as identifying scam emails, phishing emails, perhaps suspicious phone calls, password complexities, two-factor authentication? Because the conversation that brought this back to my attention during this show is, as we were talking about drive encryption, I'm not even interested in talking with a client about drive encryption until we first deal with the human factors of falling for scam emails and being able to identify them. I mean, I have people still send me emails, and I encourage them to do so, but they should have been able to recognize that it was a scam. And actually, one client that called, I think it was yesterday, he actually fell for it and started and engaged with the scammer. It was not one of the typical scams we talk about. But anyway, let me stop rambling and see what you have to say. What kind of training are you people required to go through?
Okay, here it's a little bit less. I came from health insurance. In 2000, I retired from that. That we did a lot more. Here we do quite a bit. We're more concerned. Okay, first of all, nothing except the programs are on your PC. There is no data on your PC. You get emails. You have 90% of the employees that have computers. If they did anything, it would be their own. I mean, they put in their own password quite, you know what I mean? They wouldn't be putting in a work password, but we do test them weekly. We send scam emails all the time.
Oh.
And through their supervision, they get, you know, hey, Joe, hey, Sue, you started putting your password in. It actually came to us. And then we block a ton of stuff that, you know, we get from the outside. That's number one. Our concern is more with people getting in. We're more worried about physical security than we are cybersecurity at the user level.
All right.
We're blocking the user level at the server levels.
Okay.
I mean,
so you are concerned about a person with criminal intent coming into the building and trying to get onto a computer.
I mean, you'd be surprised, especially our satellite offices, how easy it is for somebody to come in with a ladder and, you know, we're here to test, you know, fire equipment or something, and people let them in just willy-nilly. We have armed security. We have armed security at the plants, you know, I mean, and you have a truck that looks like a FedEx truck that you can drive a semi through our gate half the time. I mean, that's the security we worry about. I mean, we do worry about email type of thing. We worry about phone calls. Now, we block at the USB level of what you can even plug in at home in your laptop.
Okay.
And again, our computers, we still have a lot of people working from home. Most of our engineers are back now, but purchasing's not. HR, you know, a few are, but quite a few aren't. You know, the people that don't interact with employees, you know, that interact with, you know, insurance or interact with benefits, they don't need to be in the office because they're only local to one place. So if you're in a different plant, you're not the benefits person anyway. So that's not a big issue. But yeah, we do a lot of testing. We send emails that are actually us sending them.
Okay.
So that's not a big deal. We do encrypt, but where we had more problem was with insurance, to give you a background there, because there you'd be sending out an employee, might be a claims rep, and they're dealing with you. You might call in and it's really you calling in. So we had a lot of those issues. I mean, it may be your boyfriend calling in or your girlfriend and trying to find out, calling insurance, trying to find out your health records. So we had a lot of issues there.
Do you have blue teams and red teams in the IT department?
Yes.
All right. So in the blue teams managing, working on defense, and the red teams trying to simulate break-ins.
Yes, definitely 24/7.
All right.
Right now we only have a couple of places that are working 7. We have a couple of countries outside of the US, and they're engineering mainly, and they get on the servers. So we do have 24/7 basically.
Okay.
So, you know, we don't have downtime. We have co-location. I'm not going to say much more than that, but yeah, we are very into security. We monitor. I mean, we have some web facing, because we do sell some stuff to the public that we sell also to automotive. And because of that, we have people hitting our servers all the time. So if something comes up with automotive and it gets back to us, you know, people try to get to our servers, and you'll hear the script kiddies. They'll be hitting us with like TP link type passwords. Trust me, that has not been on our, you know, it's like we have Wi-Fi in the plants because of scanners on the high-lows, and every production machine we have, every machine we have is hooked to our internet.
Yeah.
Intranet. Yeah.
And for people who don't know, intranet is the computers communicating with each other within the building, within the office, within the company, but they don't have access to the outside internet.
No.
Right.
And even our, like, say you're scanning with product, there's the inquiry and back and forth, but it can do no more than that. It can't, you know, it's like it's connected, but it's not air gap, but it's very, you know, limited. And
firewalled.
Yeah. And think of QuickBooks. I mean, you do QuickBooks. We're not doing that obviously, but you may be payroll. You can't get to inventory control. Inventory control cannot get to payroll on a Bett.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's continuously monitored. And if the minute you touch a table that's, over here, you are in trouble. And that's, continuously monitored. And we've actually, matter of fact, I've actually, with no warning, but I actually looked at it with some of the people, but I didn't tell we had executives looking at it and IT people, and we actually pulled a plug about 2 months ago. We were down for just under 20 minutes before we back up 100%.
Pulled a plug because you thought there was...
We hit a server room like we had a power outage. I mean, we have generators, we have battery backups. We can go about 2 days on battery. That's how much we have in our data center. And with our generator, we can go 2 weeks.
All right. I'm not sure I understood about your being down for 20 minutes. Was that intentional?
On purpose.
On purpose.
I purposely took it down before the battery backup. I literally killed the whole thing.
Now, was that because you thought there was a threat, an active threat?
No, it was a test to see how we could recover.
Oh, okay.
Nobody else had wanted to get fired, and nobody could fire me, so I tried it.
Oh.
So we were down 20 minutes. That's how our security is right now.
Yeah.
And that is, right. But I got 2 quick stories if you had a minute.
Sure.
One I have is a joke because Alex always talks about this he used to a long time ago about going to his doctors. My wife and I had dentist appointments this week. A long time ago, I mean, like 7 years ago, with my wife's company. It was our family business, IT, but she ran it. I wrote a lot of the system software for different businesses in them all over. We actually, in the 90s and early 2000s, we were actually working for Microsoft's accounting software because it was actually on an IBM AS400. They didn't have their stuff on Windows.
Okay.
But anyway, we had our x-rays at the dentist's office, and they pulled both our x-rays at the same time. The dentist came into my chair first, and hers was another, room, because he had more than one hygienist. Anyway, when they pulled it up, it got an error. I use error numbers, like Windows error numbers, and then I have, if you think of a puzzle that has maybe 25 by 25 words, letters, and you look for the words diagonally and up and down and that kind of thing.
Okay.
My wife and I play those games just for ourselves. Well, I always throw a message out there with something that means something to us. And I'm sitting there, and immediately it flashed because they had an error on their system. They're using software I wrote 7 years ago with the dentist's office to read. And I'm going, and my wife got on her machine at the same time, in front of her, because they have multiple monitors now. It's like when you sit at the chair, they're over here working, they get your x-rays, and then they show them to you like, oh, look, you have a cavity, or, oh, look, you have no cavities, which I didn't. Neither did she. But anyway, it blew up. They are talking to an old x-ray machine with a USB cable. And when their servers hit it with more than one user, it blows up. They wanted to get a new x-ray machine, but their IT people said they had this program, and they just got it like 3 months ago. It has nothing to do with us, except I wrote it for a company like 7 years ago. And my wife saw it, and she saw it too. You could hear her and myself, we laughed at the same time. And she yelled out my name, and there's like 7 different, patients being worked on, and across the office, she yelled my name, and I yelled hers at the same time. And people are like, what's going on? But it's because the message showed at the same time on the screen.
So that was an error message that displayed that had some kind of coding in it that you guys recognized that as your software. Basically, we whenever I write code, I do the professional when I put a little code in there that's like, okay. Basically, if I didn't give it to you, you bootlegged it. All right, got it.
And so that was one, and then another one. I won't go into too much detail, but our company, I'm not going to say merge. We're backup for one of an automotive OEM. We're backup, and the company that has the primary contract, we at one point were doing 60% where we should be doing 10%. So we bought their company, and their IT is, the reason they were dying is their IT is just horrible. We got there, they have over 500 machines, and not 10 of them are the same model.
Yeah.
Their IT department was so secure. It's an old tool crib, concrete and, cinder block and metal with a door, with electronic lock, all kinds of great things. And their IT CIO, basically IT manager, after we're signing it, we even had the politicians there already, they saved jobs. No, I saved jobs, but that's another discussion. He's telling everybody, you can't get in that, so secure. They didn't have a man trap inside. They had a hospital handle with a hanger. I was mad because the guy their systems were horrible. I opened their door with a hanger on the outside.
Oh.
So their security see, that's the thing with what we worry about is you can get in there, or you can't. But I've walked in through my wife with different companies we went into. Oh, look at how secure it is. And they got the door propped open for air ventilation. Yeah. And nobody within 50 feet of the thing. We're talking. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I just did this head rubbing thing because when you were talking about the door, I discovered a client's office door this morning that, again, was not properly locked. And I need to have a conversation with them because I do not want their computers getting stolen. That's just more work than I want to do. I've had that happen a few times in the length of my business where a client's office gets broken into and their computers are stolen.
We worry about that, obviously, but I'm more worried when you deal automotive or even aircraft, because we have a couple of customers in Phoenix right now and Mexico. And if you're late shipping to them, the fines start at like 10 grand for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And if we miss a date, we're up to 50, sometimes 100,000, depending on the customer. If we shut down a line, think of how many people we shut down. We could shut down a plant with being late for a day, and that's could be 1,000 employees. We cover their salary for that day. So that's where it hurts. It's not like, Walmart's out of your soap today. You get it tomorrow and you're like, oh, well, who cares? But you shut down an auto plant for a day, you care. So, yeah, we don't let people in our data centers because, we very rarely actually, we don't talk to the purchasing departments of an auto company or an aircraft company or whatever. It's all electronic. The only time they talk is marketing and engineering. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yes, to answer Londa's question, everything's encrypted. Right now we lock down the keyboard you can put on your laptop.
Yeah.
To plug in.
I only have one client at this point that we're using encryption, and I've mentioned them a few times that we've got policies in place now and that whole 9 yards, and that's really my first full experience in that kind of environment.
But I've actually signed the purchase order about 3 weeks ago for the first Threadrippers. We're actually looking at AMD for some smart stuff we're doing with one of the car companies. We actually have compiled now over 140 million lines of code in a vehicle that's coming up.
Dear God.
That is more than 10 Windows 11 code base.
Yeah, yikes.
Remember, that's everything from infotainment to the brakes.
Yeah.
In most cars, the Wi-Fi, it goes to the outside, but everything inside is driving by wire.
Hey, can I take you to another subject, Gary?
Sure. I'm done.
An update regarding the pinned icons on the taskbar issue.
Yes.
What happened with that? They haven't come up with an answer, but we're narrowing it. They've narrowed it down. The only reason I hear about it is because people still complain. In between you, me, and everybody listening, users, I don't want to be too political, but they are so, I don't see that Explorer icon. Well, it's always your one up. It's always like we set it up that Explorer is the far right. Teams is next to it. Outlook, da-da-da-da-da-da. And your system is the same as mine for 95% of employees.
Now, IT guys get a little bit more freedom. Engineers get a little bit more freedom, but nobody else gets freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so anyway, they brought it down that it looks like, from what we've heard from Microsoft, is it doesn't seem to be any home system with a local account. They actually think it's a permission from a server, even their servers with the Microsoft account. They originally thought it had something to do with Spotlight service.
Okay.
It worked for a while because we don't use Spotlight on our, nobody has that on their service. Everything that, when you see our computers, we power them on, it comes up telling you that you basically have a stolen computer if you don't work for us. And that's in the BIOS, so forget it. It wasn't Spotlight, and we got rid of all the icons, redid it, we reinstalled. Well, since we first came up, we do 365 business, obviously. We use Edge Enterprise. So we've had 2 updates since that has happened, and that still hasn't fixed it. We've had fixes from Microsoft, that doesn't fix it.
Wow.
So we don't know.
Now, when you said it's not any home computers, is it narrowed down to where it's only happening, seems to only be happening in a corporate environment, Active Directory?
Well, they said they have some with Microsoft account. So
okay,
it seems
Microsoft.
to be,
all right.
It seems to be, from what I'm guessing, but they're not telling, is some kind of, like you said, I don't want to use the right word, but the controlled account. I mean, think about it. When you use a Microsoft account, it's like turning into a server.
Yeah, there's a higher level administration. There's an account policies or restrictions to what you can and can't do that are configured on in your Microsoft account above the computer you're working on.
If you have local on a home, they say they have none. I said, what about local with Pro? Back and forth.
Yeah.
They wouldn't answer. So I don't know if that's a thing.
Okay. So with the Pro edition of Windows and not using a Microsoft account, that it's perhaps not happening on any of those, but you don't have access to their full information on that.
I mean, we're talking to people, but obviously they don't tell everything either because they're Microsoft. I mean, they don't, and a quick aside on TPM, we also do open source for some of the things we're working on because of different clients. I mean, we're basically manufacturing when I started there 3 years ago, but I've been pushing into the smart. And because if you think about it, they're trying to get rid of ICE engines. I mean, and even your ICE car right now, I mean,
you lost me. They're trying to get rid of ICE engines?
Internal combustion.
Oh, okay. You're giving an industry acronym there. I didn't know that.
Internal combustion engine, yeah. But I mean, I don't know what your vehicle is, but if you have a 22, 23, 24 car, you get too close to somebody, your car starts telling you, your speedometer tells you you're going 5 over. You can set it to not go 5 over. You can have not only do you have the valet mode now, you can have the kid mode, so your kid can't go over 70 in your car.
Oh.
If you have a 2024 car, I can set it that you can't go over 70 in my car.
Yeah.
I mean, just like on your computer. So, I mean, it is a computer. In 2026, if you start driving erratically, your car will slow down. And that's being mandated by law. Of course, that is for drunk driving, but I personally am for it, but a lot of people don't like that much intrusion.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of reaction to that.
The problem is what happens when, and I will say this out loud, what happens when the government says we stop you from driving at that point and you're not drunk?
Yeah.
But my worry is a citizen is when we have people that think they know what they're doing, trying to get in that 140 million lines of code.
Let me get to somebody's question in chat here and take a different tack. Let's see. Ryan saying, does Adobe Acrobat Reader Update by itself, meaning it doesn't have an automatic update. For some reason, I have to manually update it. So Adobe Acrobat Reader. Let me go pull that up. Oops, get to the right keyboard. And see what we get here. I should have Reader here. That didn't come up that way. Acrobat. I have the full Acrobat standard, and looking for, give me a menu up here. There's menu. All right. And let's see first, what is this? This is Adobe About. This is Acrobat Pro. So it's not Reader, but I would expect that in preferences or settings somewhere there would be a option for automatic updates. Here's Updater down here at the bottom, automatically install updates. So look that direction, Ryan. And your menus are going to be different than what I'm showing here because that computer has the full Adobe Acrobat. I'm checking Baby Beast now to see what I've got on it. And here's, I haven't figured out when they do this, but it'll be listed as Adobe Acrobat and it's actually Reader. And I think Reader doesn't actually show what it is that you have. That's a little annoying, the way that they don't identify properly. About that's Adobe Acrobat Pro, so same thing there. But you're looking for a preferences and an updater, and look for an automatically install updates. Back to chat and see if he's checking that now. That was Ryan, Rain 1 full, and Danielle Emberly. If I bring a Canadian dollar check to my US bank, the deposit will show the full amount as if it was US dollars. A few days later, I get a charge to adjust for the exchange. I do transactions in Microsoft Money. I think that's the software she's using. I think she's told us that before. So that's interesting. The exchange effect of the exchange rate doesn't show up for a few days. I started reading that not knowing whether it was a question for us. She's just kind of commenting on that. Are there any other questions here as we're getting ready to wind down?
That's how American Express does it.
Yeah.
Two separate charges.
Kind of makes sense. Then bring it in showing whatever the face value dollar amount was, and then deal with the exchange rate later. Of course, depending upon when the exchange actually occurs, you're going to get a different a different rate. Go ahead.
I do have one quick comment, just kind of as a little laugh.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. Last Saturday was my birthday.
Oh.
I can officially retire now. No, I can't, but I have a contract. But in Michigan, we have our registration based on year, value, weight, okay, horsepower, performance. Then they say, fine, you pay your registration. Oh, hybrid, we'll add a little bit more. Oh, electronic, we add more. So if you have, let's say, a Tesla Plaid, which is about 1,000 pounds more than the average car, and a performance car, you pay $2,000 extra above just the similar model of a non-electronic vehicle. If you have a Corvette E-Ray, you pay $1,000 more because it's a hybrid now. You have the non-electronic or non-hybrid Corvette, you pay $1,000 less because you don't pay gas taxes.
Oh, sure. All right. Well, they're going to get you.
So, yes. So happy birthday.
Oh, okay.
But
now,
yeah, people...
you were talking about your birthday, and then you're talking about car registration. Car registration amounts, they're not affected by your age, are they?
No. But in Michigan, we'd have to do it on our birthday. I apologize. Yeah.
Oh, the car registration is tagged to your birthday?
Yeah, in Michigan, yes.
Oh, okay. That's the connection. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I did it like 3 weeks before, but yeah. So my wife and I, we are, I mean, we have some business stuff together, but she buys whatever car she wants, I buy whatever we want. I mean, we kind of talk, but it's, I'm going to buy a new car. Okay. Whatever,
So then one of you will show up one day with a new car and your spouse didn't know you were getting it?
Yeah. Matter of fact, when
acceptable.
She had her accident, which I think I told you guys, which she finally got the car. It took 3 months to get replaced because they tried to knock 20 grand off the car. The problem is we said, buy us a new car and we'll pay whatever the difference for mileage. They couldn't find a new car that like hers. Took 3 months. We had an attorney involved. But anyway, she actually, when she had her cancer, she had the mastectomy and all that stuff. She picked the car up herself the next day because they wouldn't hold it. And I'm like, I was out of town that week and I got my new car, Gary. And I'm like, what? Huh? You're in the hospital. No, I had to get the car. Well, yeah, we don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, quick for Zeev, I've been in Tel Aviv twice since March. We're doing security with a company over there.
Twice since March. This is March.
Well, since early March.
You've been there twice this month. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting closer to shutting down. So if anyone has a question, I've been kind of looking around in chat to see if we've missed any questions. If there's a question that you're asking about that we haven't got to, that's what this show is all about. So I want to be sure you get a chance. Danielle, I live in a state with high property taxes on cars. Seems they encourage people to keep their old vehicles as long as possible. Yeah, well, Gary inferred that he doesn't know what car I drove. Well, my car's a 2012, so no, it's not one of these newer cars.
I'm in Michigan for what it's worth.
Yeah,
Capital of America. Yeah, right.
It's hard to believe. We have our van is a 2016 Chrysler Town and Country.
Yeah,
and it's hard to believe in just a couple of years it'll be 10 years old already.
Oh yeah.
Well, my everyday vehicle is actually a '78 Ford F-250. Or the Tesla, one of the two.
All right, I got coming from chat, Ran Israel asking me regarding the topic 8 that I had in. Discuss different file types in the same folder, and that's from a conversation that we had sometime back, not too long ago, and somebody was saying that they've learned, I think it was Lawn Dog saying, to only have documents and documents folders, pictures and pictures folders, and PDF files in the same folders. And what I wanted to respond to on that is that that's just not practical to do for in a business environment or in any environment where you are dealing with jobs or cases you're working on, or in my case, clients. So I want to have in a particular client's folder, I will have pictures there, I will have documents there, I'll have Excel spreadsheets, I'll have PDFs. And this conversation was happening based upon how the files are, let's see, how the preview, the thumbnails show. I actually never care about thumbnails. I care about being able to find the files regarding the clients for me, for my law offices. They want to find all the files related to a particular case that they're working on in the same location. So for myself and most of my clients, we really don't care about the file type that the folder is set for. And just as a reminder, and for those who don't know, any folder on your computer can be configured to contain certain kinds of files. So here, if I take a folder, right click and go to properties, come down here to over here to customize, this folder is set up to contain general items. Well, you can tell it that this folder is only going to contain documents or pictures, music, or videos. And not that you're saying it's only going to contain those, but this is going to control some things about how File Explorer displays the files to you in File Explorer. And if it was Lawn Dog that was saying that, I'm not sure if it was him, that he keeps only the types of files that the folder is configured for. And I want to say that's really not practical for people who are using their computer to contain files related to some type of organization, such as, for me, clients, and for attorney's office cases, and anyone else would have similar types of projects. Maybe it's projects that the company is working on. Now, that's what I wanted to comment in regarding to file types. It was kind of a follow-up on a prior show.
Can I add something to that?
Go ahead.
We, and going back to insurance, and even now, going back to your question with email, you send email out through, we use Enterprise, but the mail goes out through the document control. And in programming, it's source control. But let's say you're purchasing, you may be sending in a letter about a contract or something. That letter does not go out through your email itself. It goes out through the document control. That way we also know what you sent and we have a record of it. Because you may just send something, hey, Joe, I'm going to knock all this stuff off without telling your boss or having it okayed. So nothing goes out as an attachment that we don't go through. It doesn't go through document control. So that's also security. And everything that comes in as attachment goes into document control before you see it.
Now, I don't know what you're talking about, document control.
We have a document control system attached to Enterprise. So using your, matter of fact, this goes back to law offices in the 90s. I mean, you don't see the document. You have to log in. It's still using Word, but the document comes through a document control system. You don't actually go to the folder yourself and see it.
Okay, so they're not actually accessing files through File Explorer.
Right.
Okay. Now, do your employees work through Teams?
Yes.
Okay. So when they're doing that, are they actually launching any programs that they want to use through Teams and not so much from their desktop?
They can look, they go through their desktop, but if they go to open a document, the document pulls up the document control system. So you can't open a document without going through document control.
Okay. And is that document control system connected with or associated with Teams?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
It's a whole ecosystem. Teams, Enterprise, document control, Word, Excel, God forbid, PowerPoint.
Okay, so the document control is a system subcomponent of Teams, or is it a homegrown?
It is a homegrown with a system that it's an old system that's been upgraded.
Okay.
But I mean, we've used document control in insurance, the same thing. There was document control for law offices because I worked with a law firm 30 years ago. And I mean, it was back then they used WordPerfect with document control systems. Because could you imagine in a law office, I send out something and the legal aid sends it out and the attorney doesn't know it got sent out. That could be disastrous.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't go into Word without going through document control.
All right. Now a follow-up comment here from Ran Israel about he says, because of Explorer folder customization, just configured for general items and be done with it. I actually don't do anything with it. I just leave them as it is. I have something I believe I've selected an option somehow accidentally. It is when you go to something like the documents folder and you choose like a PDF, and while you're seeing the list of PDFs, once you highlight the PDF, it is shown on the right edge, the right hand side of preview. How do I turn that off? How do I control it? I hope that explains it. Basically, I think it's just the preview window is all you're looking for. And let's get in here to some place to show something here. Let's see, you've got over here on the right hand side where it says select a file to preview. If you click on a file that can be previewed, it would show you here. This is showing the preview of that. And I think that's just on the view menu here where it says preview pane. Just clicking on that, turn that off. Show file name, extension, navigation, details pane. Okay, that shows details. I want to turn that off. completely. I thought that would have been a toggle on or off. And pull up options here, view. I don't think preview pane is shown here. Where am I missing it? No. Yeah, Londog is saying that's what it is. How do I control that? Oh, there it is. This details panel over here. I think they've changed where this is located. But over here on the right-hand side where it says details, that turns off this pane completely. Now if I come back here to view, it still says details pane is selected if I turn that panel on. I like the old way better. Does that do it? Yep, that's how I do. That's it, Doug. How do I control that? Yeah, so I just showed that to you. Did that answer your question, Lon Dog? If there's some other question in there that I missed, this is your last call. It is time to shut down.
Shameless plug time for my channel.
Yeah, Jim, go ahead.
Just making sure before I put it in there.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to put it in chat. Do you got something to tell us about what you recently posted to further entice people? All right.
Well, I just made a real quick video on two subjects a couple of weeks or so ago.
All right.
About how to spot what gaming PCs not to buy on Amazon.
All right.
And how the latest Ryzen 8700G is not worth the money they want to charge for it.
All right.
Is that the GPU or the CPU?
That's the Ryzen 8700G. For the price that they want for that thing, it is not what I would consider to anything to use for entry-level gaming. An i3 12100 and an RX 6600, which is a separate CPU and GPU, costs the same money, and it's a better performer for gaming.
All right. I've had a couple more comments back from Londog on this. It's not clear to me whether what I showed you worked for you or not. Yeah, I remember it being on the left-hand side. I remember check boxes at the top. So I'm just wondering, has this all changed? Let's see if I come up here to pictures folder. I remember a button bar at the top, and I'm not seeing that button bar that I was expecting to see when I got there, actually. Are you trying this now, Lawn Dog? What I just showed you, did it not work? This details button on the right-hand side, that would turn on this details panel, which would either be a preview or a details information. I'm looking, Doug, but I'm also trying to pay attention to the show. I will tinker with some more, and we can pick this up again next week. Okay, then that's it. We'll shut down. I'm back. Zoom is on screen. If you're any of you that are there at a microphone, would you please unmute and say goodbye to the audience?
Oh, let me see. Hang on a second. There we go. Get my ugly mug on screen to frighten small children. Yeah, there you go. Good night, Gracie.
All right. Good night. Thank you, Jim. All right. I'm going to go ahead and shut down Zoom. I'm going to assume the others aren't right there to say goodbye. And thank you for hanging with us.
Bye.
Ah, there's Alex. Thank you, Alex. See you another time.
See you.
All right. Bye. Okay, and there's the email address. If you want to send a question, you can send it by email. You can put a comment on any of my videos. You can ask a question in the chat room. The whole reason that I have this channel is to try to respond to people's questions, not only myself, but people in the chat room. Gives everybody an opportunity to experience more troubleshooting and problem solving issues with Windows computers. All right, that's it. Have a great weekend, everybody. Goodbye.